level of urgency need to be for this game against this Raptors team, knowing, the standings and everything on the line?
I mean, it needs to be high for us, period. Obviously we understand and we're aware of the circumstances that we're under when we face the Raptors. We're aware that they understand it as well. They've got guys that have been, to the highest of levels and understand all those things. So, we talk about always having empathy for our opponents and understanding their mindset. So we have to be aware, but it's important for us at this point also to do what we want to do. This is a moment for us and a challenge.
Looks like Van Vliet's going to be out for them tonight, but curious your thoughts on Trent Jr. since he's put up some big numbers against the Cavs in the past. What's the key to on the scouting report when guarding a guy like him?
You just got to make it tough. These guys that are as good as they are offensively nowadays, very rarely do you shut them down because they're going to get their looks. They're going to get their attempts. So what you have to do is just make them as difficult as you possibly can. You got to understand what he's trying to do. How do you limit that? The spots on the floor where they like to get him the ball. How do you get him off those spots? So all those small things where you can just disrupt rhythm and timing and then challenge and contest without fouling.
Our next question is going to come from our junior kids reporter, Natalie. Take out mute. You're up.
Hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm a Cavs Kids Club junior reporter. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Natalie.
We are celebrating Women's History Month at the game tonight. Who's a female icon that you look up to?
My mom would be the most important woman in my life that I look up to. She was a school teacher when we were coming up. So watching her sacrifice, the time that she put in, to help kids with their education and as a parent figure to them as well. And then watching the sacrifices that she made for us, myself, my brother, and my sister, to make sure that we had everything that we need and that, everything we needed for was provided.
That's funny. My mom's a teacher too.
There you go.
Which player on the team is rocking the best sneaker game?
Oh, geez. I don't even pay attention to that, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's a tough one. I couldn't tell you the answer to that. Sorry.
It's all right. Thanks for your time and good luck tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. Kelsey.
Kelsey Roos, the athletic. It's a hard one to follow.
Right.
Karis and Rodno were both listed as doubtful. Where are they in their progress back? And just kind of in their progression in both their injuries?
Both of them are taking steps in the right direction. Obviously, when you're dealing with your feet, it's hard to always stay off of them. And then, when you're trying to ramp back up, you just have to be careful and cautious and monitor, the response of day to day. And, you do more and see how that responds the next morning when you wake up. But they're both consistently doing more and more.
This morning, Larry said that the guys were pissed and frustrated in a positive way, I guess, about just where things are. So when they have that frustration that they take out, they're looking to turn things around. How helpful can that be when there is sort of that mindset going into games and everything?
When it's expressed the right way, it can be very helpful. And I think that's where it comes from them and understanding, what they need to do as a team to get it done. And we've been pretty fortunate with this group. We haven't had those moments of, individual frustrations overtaking the team, and guys feeling like they have to do too much on their own. It seems to have been, and, for the year, been a collective, this is where we are. We have to figure out a way to make it work. Let's do it together.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
A couple of the guys were saying that they do believe you guys as a team can get back to the defense that you showed at the beginning of the season. I'm sure you believe the same thing. What is it that makes you believe that you can get back to that level?
I mean, just that we've done it for so long. It's not something that was a flash in the pan, that we did for, a couple of weeks against bad teams. We were a really good defensive team versus really good offensive teams. And our personnel hasn't changed. Obviously, when you're dealing with a lot of games and a lot of, different injuries to different personnel. There's going to be some slippage in some of those areas. But we believe, like, to our core, that we have the individuals who can guard and then the team scheme to fit it.
Everybody always talks about the regular season being a marathon, not a sprint. At what point, if at all, does it turn into a sprint as opposed to a marathon? Do you have to flip a switch in your own mind?
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny that you say that, but we all, and I would kind of take it where at the end of the year, things slow down, because the games are so much more meaningful, and because you kind of have an understanding of where everybody is, that things kind of slow down and you tend to focus more on the one-offs than you do, the 5 and 7 stretch or the whatever it may be. And now you just start to focus on game by game because you understand the importance of all of them. You'd like to have that approach in, October, November. But it is, just such a long season. And, we talk about all the times, like a loss in December, you'll look back at that at the end of the year and be like, because you're in a certain position or whatever. But, I think at the end of the year, the game really slow down. The season slows down.
Thank you.
Marla, right there, Everything Journal. Being on ESPN Sunday showcase, do you think some of these young guys will, you're not don't have that national exposure? Do you think some of these guys will kind of relish that and want to show what they're about?
I mean, I think they do. I think it's different nowadays, to be honest with you, with social media and all the attraction and attention that these guys get. There was a day where, the only way you saw, basketball games from the West Coast or East Coast or, were when they were nationally televised. But now, there's so much contact for these guys and availability for these guys that I'm not sure how much, it impacts them. But, it's one of those things where if it allows you to put your best foot forward, then we'll take it.
And one thing about the defense, have you seen the aggression, Wayne? I mean, is that the number one thing that you think they might have been missing?
I mean, there's been, I wouldn't say the aggression, but the multiple efforts that we were putting forth, I think changed, over, the past couple of weeks. And I think that's where, even last night or, the other night in Philly, I thought we did a better job of those things. And I feel like we're trending in the right direction. But that's what made us unique is obviously our size and length. But then we had a lot of guys that were making multiple efforts to protect one another.
Tom Withers, AP. Did you happen to watch the Coach K tribute last night?
I watched bits and pieces of the game.
So
Yeah.
He talked a lot about family and commitment, and I know that very well. You have to immerse yourself into every aspect of the game. What do you do to kind of? I know you can't really flip off the switch during the season, but what do you do to kind of decompress a little bit while the season's going on?
No, I mean, you do. And like, for me, it's about my family and my kids. Like being able to go to, like yesterday, I was lucky enough to go and watch my girls play soccer. And it allows you to just kind of, forget about all the other stuff that's going on and just watch them compete and have fun. So for me, that's what it's about, is being able to go spend time with my kids, go get wrapped up in their problems, and just have fun, watching some of the crazy things that they do. Yeah, they keep us behind the glass. So
Indoor game.
yeah, it was an indoor game. Yeah, so we were behind the glass. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Mac Robinson, 93 fan, coach. With Toronto sitting at the 7th seed coming into tonight's game, do you guys feel like there's an added pressure going against a team that you're fighting in that playoff position with?
I wouldn't call it a pressure. There is, a job that needs to be done, and you understand, the rewards of that job that's done, if done properly. It sets you, a certain number of games, it gives you a tiebreaker, all those things that we understand. So it's not necessarily a pressure, but it is an opportunity for us.
And then coming in tonight's game, you guys had the same starting lineup last two games with Darius, Isaac, and and the rest of the guys. You know, do you feel like getting these guys back healthy on top of getting them playing together as well? You feel like that that's going to come along nicely for these guys?
Yeah, I mean, you missed that continuity. You know, Lowry was out for 11 games. Obviously, Darius has been in and out. And, you know, you go through it, you go through the season. The best teams in this league, one, are the healthiest teams, and they're the most consistent teams. And it's difficult to be consistent when you're unhealthy and you're plugging and playing different guys, especially at key spots. So, you know, the more continuity our guys get, the more they get to play together, you know, the better basketball team will be.
Thank you.
Mark Grange.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, hi there. Hey, JB. It's Michael Grange online here from Toronto. When you're talking about your defense and you got a team like the Raptors where they're missing a couple of specific guys, two of their best three-point shooters. They're obviously not too deep at point guard right now. Do you tailor your defense when you know there's a team is missing certain elements, or do you just kind of stick with your program and hope it covers the bases?
I mean, for the most part, you know, we stick with our system, but then we always take into account our opponent's personnel and what their strengths and weaknesses are. But, you know, the NBA season, the games come so quickly that if you're ever changing for every game, you know, you won't really get good at anything. So we have built-in adjustments in our system that we make based on personnel.